We want to repeat, first of all, our call for the Prime Minister to immediately appoint a minister who can take charge of the portfolio and deal with the outstanding issues in the other entities as well as in the energy segment of the ministry. In that regard, I would like to point out that the PCJ board, which has had oversight responsibility for PetroJam and which has been clearly derelict in its duties as implied by the Auditor General's report, remains in place. We believe it should be removed and a new board appointed immediately. It should be noted that there are members of the PetroJam board who have resigned, who continue to serve on the PCJ board. This just highlights the inadequacies, indeed the ludicrousness of the situation. The Auditor General's report reveals the great extent of corruption, nepotism, mismanagement, and other irregularities which have cost the Jamaican taxpayer billions of dollars. The report also reveals vulgar extravagance on the part of the political leaders of the ministry and their carefully selected political appointees. It reveals also the lack of oversight by responsible officials and the fact that Parliament has been misled by members of the government. I think the entire country agrees that the release of the report on PetroJam by the Auditor General cannot be the end of the matter. When the investigation started into the PetroJam saga and into the other entities of the then Ministry of Science, Energy, Technology, the Prime Minister promised that a minister responsible for energy would have been appointed in short order. It is now 5 months since the former minister resigned, and the portfolio remains in limbo. There are issues within the energy portfolio which require urgent attention, some of which have been highlighted in the Auditor General's report, including the pricing mechanism for fuel, oil transactions, the ownership structure of the PetroJam refinery, and the attendant oil losses, among other things. All of this and all of these issues are continuing today, even while the Prime Minister exercises oversight. Despite the corrupting of the recruitment process, which has been demonstrated in that segment of the portfolio, including the hiring of a CEO who did not meet the basic requirements advertised for the post, while at least 24 other qualified individuals who met those requirements were not even shortlisted. We believe also that the board of the Universal Service Fund should be called upon to resign and should demit office. We note also that the NESOL board remains in place despite the recruitment of a general manager who again did not meet the minimum requirements advertised for the job, and where at least 2 senior employees are being criminally charged. In short, we can say that during the Prime Minister's tenure, nothing has been done to repair these significant breaches. I repeat the call for a competent minister to be named for this portfolio. Secondly, I want to repeat the call made earlier by the party for a forensic audit of the PetroJam operations to be undertaken by independent professionals without further delay. In particular, we are calling for a separate audit of the transactions between PetroJam and West Indies Petroleum Limited to be undertaken to answer the question of the missing oil revenues. This particular aspect of the problem was not addressed in the Auditor General's report, but we consider it to be of the utmost significance. I'd like to remind that the audit done by PDVSA of Venezuela, which was submitted in February 2018 into the operations of the refinery, indicated that there had been emergency purchases done in March 2017 by PetroJam from West Indies Petroleum Limited, which in their view did not qualify to be treated as emergency purchases. They also pointed out that spot purchases of oil were made from West Indies Petroleum at prices that were well above market prices. We think this matter deserves special mention, especially in view of the fact that at least $300 million of taxpayer money was spent purchasing oil above market prices from West Indies Petroleum. We need to know where the money went, who benefited, and whether there are other consequences that should flow from this. We also maintain that appropriate investigations should be undertaken by MOCA, the Major Organized Crime Agency, and the Integrity Commission to determine whether there was criminal behavior, not only in the transactions regarding West Indies Petroleum, but also in other areas of the ministry. And we believe that the government should authorize MOCA and the National Integrity Commission to seek expertise from our international partners should this be necessary, because I have no doubt that they are willing to assist with the relevant expertise, particularly in respect of tracking any flows of funds which may have been diverted overseas or even to local accounts. We call upon the Ministry of Finance and the other appropriate authorities to take immediate steps to recover taxpayer funds where these have been improperly misappropriated from the agencies. And I also want to say in relation to the forensic audits that we insist that they should cover the entire period identified by the Contractor General, by the Auditor General, including those periods of time when the People's National Party formed the government. We say any breaches uncovered must be dealt with in accordance with the law. Finally, I want to address the issue of the responsibilities of the Public Accounts Committee, which should, we insist, be allowed to investigate and hold hearings on the Auditor General's report. I note that the chairman of the PAC has sought to call a meeting for tomorrow. I trust that this meeting will take place. In any event, we are insisting, since if it is held, this will necessarily be a preliminary meeting, that the substantive discussions on this Auditor General's report should take place within the Public Accounts Committee within the first half of January. Should that not take place, it is going to threaten our usual cooperation in the parliamentary process. We think that the matter is of such fundamental importance that nothing less will do.